Yo, people, we are back for another edition of Commissioner's Corner. I'm your host and the most, NK, aka the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. But of course, I'm never alone with Commissioner's Corner. I'm always joined by my co-host, the UK's #1 black pro wrestling historian. We got knowledge in the building. How are you doing, sir?
I am good today, NK. I'm good. I want to hear about Basement Grooves.
Oh yeah, Basement Grooves was excellent last night. Probably the one of the more fun events I get to go to on a regular basis. I had a great time. Had a great time.
Actually, before we go any further, what is Basement Grooves, NK?
Basement Grooves is an event hosted by us, the members of Wrestlings, that takes place every month. Um in a bar called Loading Bar, and we use their basement, hence the name Basement Grooves, for a fun day party experience. There's food, there's drinks, there's good vibes, there's good energy. You know what I'm saying? It was a really fun time. It was a really fun time. Had a good time.
When's the next one?
The next one, not confirmed yet, but we are looking towards. It's always during the end of the month, so it's always around the period where, like, maybe like the 29th or the 30th of July, but that's of June, sorry, but that's not confirmed yet. But we'll see. We'll see. It'll definitely be at the end of the month, so end of June. That's when the next one will be. But yeah, man, if you're in London, you want to have a good time, meet some of the Mandem in a non-wrestling setting and just have fun, have a blast, have some drinks, have a lot of drinks, then definitely head down to Basement Grooves, man. Definitely, I'm still recovering from last night. I'm definitely still recovering from last night.
Who was there?
So I think all the members of Wrestlings were there. A few I met a few people that were from from uni that I hadn't seen in years. I didn't even invite them.
Or did you
What'd you
invite
say?
them? Randomly, or did
Nah,
you
they
invite
just
them?
randomly appeared. Like they knew someone that knew someone.
Oh,
London is very small. London is very small.
yeah.
So there's always like degrees of separation between people. Like, you know, someone that knows someone that knows someone, and boom, they're there. So yeah, it was a good time. Atlas, big up Atlas. He pulled up. Obviously, a lot of the usual members of the Discord and stuff like that pulled up. So yeah, man. Listen, I met big up Lino in the Wrestling's Discord. I met him for the first time. So yeah,
Who? Sorry.
Lino. He's in the Discord. I met him for
Oh,
the first
sweet.
time.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
How do I get into the Discord if I'm not in it?
You get into Discord by becoming a member.
There you
Become a member, you get access to exclusive content. You get to be a part of our Discord, be a part of the Wrestling's community. So consider becoming a member. It does help us out. It does help us produce more content. And for you guys, you get to be a part of a wider community. Speaking of the community, big up Navy. Navy is a Commissioner's Corner legend. You know, he's always in the comment section. Big up yourself.
go.
Yeah, and big up to everyone watching live, and big up to the people who are watching on replay. When you do watch on replay, make sure you like and you comment in the comment section below. Subscribe to the wrestling channel. As you know, we've got Commissioner's Corner, we've got the we've got our flagship podcast and various other pieces of content to this that we discuss. But yeah, obviously last night was the 5-year anniversary of AEW.
Out Nabil as well.
Oh yes, Nabil. Big up Nabil. Congratulations. Nabil's
Yeah.
just gotten married. So everyone who knows Nabil, reach out to Nabil, give him congratulations. You know, he's taking a big step in life. He's living the life that one day I'll get there. One day I'll get there. But you know what I'm saying? Big up Nabil, man. Big up Nabil every
Very
time.
happy man. Very happy man.
Very happy man, man. Very happy man, man. He's living the dream, man.
Yeah, congratulations, Nabil, and your new wife. Even though she's probably not watching, but yeah.
You never know, you know. You never know. The Bill's always said that, you know, his missus is proper cool with him watching AEW. So maybe, but the Bill might be chilling on his honeymoon watching Commissioner's Corner. You know.
Hello, love. Nice to meet you. Enjoy the show.
Yeah, man. But as you know, Double or Nothing took place yesterday. I have not finished the full show in its entirety. I've still got 2 matches to go. It's the Swerve match and obviously the Anarchy in the Arena match, but I've watched everything up until then. Knowledge, you finished the entire pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, I watched it last night actually because
Mm.
I got back in late yesterday because I've been away over the weekend for work purposes. And sorry, give me a second.
No worries. I'll just suggest Navy says I'm on the way home from America finally. How long were you out there, Navy? How long were you out there in the States? And you're going back to Italy, right, Navy? But yeah.
Yeah, he's in it. He's in Italy. Navy's in Italy. Yeah, I was away over the weekend for work, and so I got back late yesterday, and I
Yeah.
watched the show live, and I fell asleep a couple of times during the show, but I watched 99% of the show. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I think AEW don't miss when it comes to their pay-per-views.
I think they
But
see. I think it wasn't bad. There was a couple really good bits on the show, and nothing on the show was bad. But I wouldn't put this with their best effort or anything like that.
no. Of course not. Like, I still, even this year, I wouldn't put this like on the level of Dynasty or on the level of Revolution. Yeah,
It was better than World's End. It was better than that last, and yeah, it was better than World's End. But I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, I don't regret watching it, and the main event was really good, and the opener was really good, and there was the Max segment was really good, but everything else, I mean, I thought it was really long as well.
Yeah. I think
show.
I saw, because when I went to watch this pay-per-view back, I saw like 4 hours and 30 minutes. I was like, oh, usually they're about like 3+, maybe get 3
under 4, yeah.
Yeah, just under 4 on the dot one. So when it was like 4 hours 30 minutes, I was like, rah.
Yeah.
Like, that is a long pay-per-view. But I think, to give our viewers context, me and Knowledge have been having conversations, and I think you've been watching week to week. We've alluded to like our frustrations with the current AEW product, and I think going into this pay-per-view, if I'm being honest, this is probably the least enthused I've been with the product. Not necessarily because I wouldn't say this is the worst the product's been, because I think there was that post brawl out period where the product was just all over the place. And I just think right now it's stagnant is the word. I don't think actively bad, but just stagnant. And I think there's a lot of different factors that we'll touch into, whether it's the match cards that are put on some of these collision shows, especially, whether it's, the pushing of tickets and so on and so forth. I just feel like the product's been stagnant. Knowledge, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched an episode of Dynamite for a while. Like, I still pay attention to everything, and I know what's going on. But I mean, in my house, we're a strong AEW household over here. Like, strong AEW household. And even my son doesn't even like bother watching. He still pays attention to what's going on, in terms of like YouTube and stuff like that. He'll watch bits and pieces. But the days of him watching full episodes of Dynamite and stuff is just he hasn't watched an episode of Dynamite for a while. It's just a very cold product right now. It's a very cold product, and every so often you'll see every AEW fans, and I get it, they love their product, and every so often something cool will happen, and they'll go, "Oh, we're so back," and you're not. I mean, you're not back. You're not going to be back for a while, I don't think. And I just expect more. I think that's my issue. I think I just expect a lot more. And I know with that roster, they got one of the greatest rosters that we've ever had in wrestling. And I just think with that roster, that show should be way better than it really is. But there's a lot of issues with the product. The pay-per-view yesterday, I mean, I'm not going to. I don't think it was a bad pay-per-view. I just thought there was a lot going on that show.
Yeah.
Like, I think every single match on that show had outside interference.
Yeah.
There was so many angles on that show as well, and I was like, "What? You couldn't wait for some of those to? You couldn't wait for Wednesday to do some of this?"
Yeah.
I'm not completely happy with AEW right now. I mean, I don't hate it, and I'm even considering this being like a UFC type viewer and just watch the pay-per-views. and it's all the TV, because I've noticed when I watch the TV, I get really frustrated and annoyed. But yeah, there's a lot going on with AEW right now. In fact, we were discussing earlier. I feel like this with wrestling in general, like New Japan. I'm so out on New Japan right now. I just don't even give a shit at all. WWE. I don't watch WWE. I never watched WWE. I'm done with it. So I don't care what goes on.
I think WWE right now are the one company in wrestling that are satisfying their audience.
They satisfy their audience. They give them exactly what they want. I do find it interesting because I go online and I do see WWE fans complaining that there's too much wrestling on the show. Have you seen these people?
Yeah, I've seen that a little bit, which I think is ludicrous. But
they complain about too much wrestling being on the show and not enough sports entertainment sort of thing. But I mean, they're servicing their fans love that show. They love that show.
Generally, I think across the board, whether it's like WWE, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, the pay-per-views, the general consensus around WWE right now is like it's for their audience, they're very much satisfied. Where I feel like with AEW at the moment, I don't want to say it's not as bad of an identity crisis as I think like the Max title reign was. I just think nothing is focused at the moment. I just think there's a lot of. I don't think anything seems like meticulously planned. It feels like the bookings just going week to week. We'll see what happens.
It's definitely it's booked week to week. You can see that. Yeah. There's no long term direction or anything like that. It's just week to week booking, and it's you can see that. You can see that the TV show now is a lot different to the way it used to be previously. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, if you go back to 2022, because I mean, there's a general consensus that AEW was at its strongest from summer of 2021 to summer of 2022. Would you agree?
Yes.
Early summer 2022.
Yeah, I would say so. From basically 2021,
all out to all out,
all out, basically.
Yeah. It was the strongest period that they ever had. It was great TV, great pay-per-views. Do you remember when Dynamite was just killer every week? It was just great show.
And that reflected in the ratings. Like the Dynamite demos were outdoing Raw demos at that point in time.
They beat Raw a few times.
Yeah.
In the 18 to 34, they beat Raw quite a few times actually. I mean, there's a lot that went into the turnaround. But I mean, if you go back to that period and you look at the product that they were putting on TV in terms of CM Punk was on the show, and that awesome feud with Max was this was a fantastic feud, and you had this
Hangman's title reign, Kenny's title reign.
Hangman's title reign. Adam Cole was the feud of Adam Cole did really good numbers. You had the trios title tournament that did really well as well, which I think I want to talk about trios titles later on, but I'll come back to that. But we had the trios tournament that did really well. There was a lot of great things in AEW at that time. And if you go back to that period, people have this thing about the CM Punk injury, the first time when he broke his ankle. And if you can go back and you can trace the fall in attendance to around that period, is when he hurt his ankle. And if you look at the numbers at that point after that, the numbers, they seem to have dipped. And there was a lot of concern amongst people in wrestling, mainly Dave, about the fact that their shows were really light. They weren't doing what they were doing before. This was before he came back. This was before the All Out.
Brawl Out stuff, yeah.
This was before all that. So it was a period where he was off for 2 months.
So it was the Forbidden Door period where he was
Forbidden Door period all the way to All Out 2022. There was concern because the houses were getting light and people were like, oh, he's not there, he's not there. That seems to be the issue. And they were light. They were getting light, but a lot of people brushed it off because he was injured. And that was the feeling. I actually disagree with that. And it's something that we discussed at the time because I always go back to another thing on that show where Punk broke his ankle, and it was the Max promo that he cut on Tony Khan. That was all on the same show. All right. Now, do you remember, NK, 2 years ago when you watched that show and after Max cut that promo where he called Tony Khan a mark and he shot on AEW and he shot on... Do you remember the conversation we had as soon as that?
Yeah, you were livid. You were like, you cannot do that on a show. Like, you can't. You were basically like, it's inexcusable for you to do that on a show.
We haven't discussed this either, but I'm happy you remember that. I was appalled. I was absolutely appalled when he cut that promo. All right, and the fact that they let him, they agreed to let him go out there and do that, where he shat on the company, he shat on the boss. He basically said he wanted to leave, which he'd been doing. He'd been teasing anyway. There was a thing with Wardlow, which
where he no-showed. I think it was Double or Nothing. I believe
it was Double or Nothing 2 years ago.
Almost no-showed Double or Nothing, and then he arrived last minute and basically kind of took the steam out of Wardlow's ascendance.
Yeah, he did. And I remember that weekend, it was such a shit show. And AEW, they didn't really have anything like that happen, to that degree. And it was such a shit show, and it took a focus off of everything going on that weekend, took a focus off of Wardlow. And he did the job for Wardlow, and he left, and Wardlow was never the same again. But the following Wednesday, he comes out and he cuts this promo about he's shitting on the company, he's shitting on Tony Khan. And I remember speaking to you that night, we were texting each other, and I remember I was so angry. I don't even think I finished the show because I've lived through this stuff so many times before where Vince Russo used to do this every week on Nitro, and Bischoff used to do it too, where you'd watch the show and they gave you the impression that they were the minor league and WWF was the place to be. And Russo used to go out there every week in his show, and he'd always talk about the fact that WCW was a mess, and that is, the guys that ran the company before were stupid because they let their young guys go to WWE. And I remember there was a time when he told David Flair, because they were doing David Flair against Ric Flair on TV. That was a feud, and one of the reasons why Russo got David Flair on his side was because he promised him he could get him a job in WWE. And it's like, could you just think about this or whatever? You cannot have a TV show. You go out there and you tell everyone that your top stars want to leave, and he's considering leaving, and he might go to some. And it's like, this is fake. You can do whatever you want, and you can get your top stars to pretend that you are the biggest promotion in the world and you are the place to be. And they didn't do that. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, maybe it was Punk and his broken ankle, and maybe that's why people stopped buying tickets. But to me, I think a big factor was that promo and the fact that they let everyone know that they weren't in the WWE's league at all and that they were minor. And then Punk comes out 2 months later at the All Out presser, and he cuts a promo about shitting on AEW, shitting on their top stars. They hadn't done anything in wrestling. And it goes back to the conversation we've had many times about perception. Perception of AEW until this period was, don't get me wrong.
Like the perception of AEW at that point in time, it still had this detractors, but the products, I think it goes back to what we spoke to earlier. It served the core audience. The core audience that wanted the alternative to WWE were watching AEW. And it was very much, and also at the time, obviously there were ebbs and flows, but a lot of people who didn't even necessarily, who weren't happy with WWE were watching AEW. I remember moments like All Out 2021, like people were very much shifting their attention between the two products.
Yeah. There was a lot of people that were watching AEW that were watching WWE. A lot of them looked over because it was AEW during that period was a hot TV show. It was great. The audiences were so live. You turn the channel onto Dynamite, and then you watch Raw immediately after. Those Raw audiences were silent compared to the Dynamite audiences. Another thing, 2 hours straight.
And another thing, the difference between then and now is you just look at the production, how bright the arenas were, because they wanted to show you how packed the arenas are. And that's like a far cry from today, where the shows are dimly lit on purpose, to kind of just hide the fact that there's not people buying tickets.
Not buying. Yeah. I just, after all that 2022, after the incident happened with the Elite and Punk, there was a big old stain on AEW, and the fact that it looked, the perception of it then was that it was small time and that their boss couldn't manage his wrestlers, he couldn't manage talent, and wrestlers hated to work there and stuff. And whether or not that is true is a different story, but that was the perception. And I remember at the time people were saying, "Oh, it's not fair because." Stuff like this happened in WWE, and it did happen in WWE many times before. But unfortunately, WWE have been in business for near 70 years.
They've outlasted their competition.
They've outlasted their competition from over 70 years. You can actually date, traces of that same company that is on TV. You can trace it back to the 1940s. That's how long that company has been in existence, from WWE to F to WWE to Capital Sports. It's been in existence for a long, long time. They have an audience that is they're part of pop culture, that company. They've got their founder is currently in the middle of a sex trafficking lawsuit. The company is being sued currently. They are named in a sex trafficking lawsuit. Their fans don't care. Their fans don't care about that. If you read Twitter and you saw the internet, you'd think that the brawl between CM Punk and the Young Bucks was a lot worse than Vince McMahon passing his employees around to other employees to have sex with them. That's the perception, and that's why they can get away with so much stuff. AEW isn't afforded that luxury at all. They're new. If they fuck up, they're screwed. WWE. They're part of the culture right now. Doesn't matter what they do. They are fine. They will always be fine. They can screw up and they're always going to be fine.
Dej Peter says, I don't think AEW is cold. I just think WWE are too hot and people can only pay attention to one wrestling company.
They're cold because you can look at their buildings and see there's no one there. Not no one there. They still do fine in some places. They did 7,000 people last night. But, the Forbidden Door a couple of years ago, they did 14. They did double that.
Yeah.
It's the same building.
Yeah.
WWE is hot. WWE is really hot, and that is
ridiculously hot. Like factually speaking, like I said, the WrestleMania did I think largest. They made the most money out of any WrestleMania. The last one made the most money out of any WrestleMania they've done. If you look at their pay-per-view gates, even their ticket prices.
History.
Yeah, even their ticket prices, WWE tickets aren't necessarily the cheapest, but they are still managing to fill out these buildings. Even if you look at the Clash of the Castle show in Scotland, those tickets are hefty, but they're moving.
Those tickets are 300.
Yeah. Those tickets are hefty, but they're moving. Yeah. So WWE, I think it is definitely a combination of WWE getting hot. However, I think there's a lot more inwards looking that AEW need to do. And obviously, I know the viewers here trust our opinions. We're not grifters. We're not trying to shit on AEW. We're just analyzing the real problem.
I love AEW.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for AEW, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you because I would have been done with wrestling years ago. The only way me and you would be talking about wrestling right now is if we were doing a weekly review of Mid-South TV or something like that. We'd be reviewing 1982 Mid-South every week. We'd watch an episode every week and talk about it. Or if we were doing ECW, as a throwback review show, I would have no interest in wrestling at all.
Yeah. Dej Peter says, if you look at wrestling right now, they don't have a generational megastar that transcends pop culture.
They got The Rock.
Yeah. But even before The Rock, the product was just consistently hot. Like I don't even watch the products, WWE product like that, but I can, like, the Bloodline stuff, I can name multiple iterations of that where Sami Zayn was the hottest person in wrestling at one point. Sami Zayn. So
yeah, he was.
Yeah. He was. So it's like the promotion within itself is hot. Is hot. Now you add obviously guys like The Rock and so on and so forth, and that pop culture aspect takes it to another level. But WWE have been hot for like almost 2 years.
Yeah. I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep going. Promotions don't usually stay hot for that long. They usually have a downward turn at some point, and then they usually get cold. And You know, it takes a while for them to get hot again. But, you know, it might be different for these lot. I doubt it. They'll get, you know, they'll get cold at some point. But
when we've spoken, you've often mentioned and brought notice to you've mentioned this phrase. You've always said a booker only has like 2 years of like amazing booking. Um what what brought you to that conclusion? And two, if that's the case, obviously WWE's been run by like Vince for like decades and they've still managed to maintain like some sort of cultural relevancy. Even though the product obviously in the 2010s was heavily scrutinized, but WWE has managed to like curb that trend of like promoters only having 2 years of good booking in them in terms of they're still popular and the fans love it.
well, it's different for Vince McMahon because Vince
Mm,
McMahon, if you go back in time and you look at all the territories,
mm,
every single promoter that ran a territory used to have a head booker,
ah,
and they'd have a head booker. So let's say it was Mid South, Cowboy. As much as Bill Watts was a wrestling genius, he really was. Bill
mhm,
Watts is probably the most intelligent man that ever promoted wrestling. In all honesty, he was a
mhm,
genius, and he would have a booker, whether it be Ernie Ladd or whoever, and those are the guys that he'd have booking his shows. And obviously, he'd oversee everything, but he would have those. He'd have him book for a while, and then as soon as this is the way it goes, all right. This is the way it went. The wrestling business back then was totally different to what it is now because, you know, you could tell if your product was any good or if it was resonating because people would show up to the
yeah,
show. There was no TV money. It was all on the gate. It was all on the gate. So if people weren't showing up, that means that you're doing something wrong. So then that is a time, if the people stop showing up, that's a time for you to look at your booker and be like, okay, this isn't working. I need to get someone else in. So then he would call Bill Dundee, and Bill Dundee would come and book for a few months. And, you know, Bill Dundee would book until, once again, people stop showing up. Okay, this isn't going to work anymore. Sorry, Bill, but I'm going to need to get someone else in. And
mm,
this is how it was. It was the same with Fritz von Erich, and he got Ken Mantell, or he got Ken Mantell was a really good booker, although people claim that he didn't do as much work as they claimed he did. But I always thought Ken Mantell was a good booker. But he
mm,
would come in, Ken Mantell, and he would book for, you know, 6 months, a year, or whatever. And once again, until the houses went down, well, then, you know, he'd replace him with some, and that's just how wrestling was. Vince McMahon, when Vince McMahon showed up in '84, when he ran the company, he had George Scott booking, and George Scott booked for a while until Hogan hated George Scott, so Hogan got George Scott fired. Vince was never the head booker in terms of Vince McMahon was never the guy that sat there and wrote TV. He was
mm,
always the guy that oversaw it. And don't get me wrong, every so often Vince McMahon would have a great idea he thought was a great idea, and he'd do that himself. But as far as the entirety of the show, he didn't do the whole show. It was Pat Patterson. It was Cornette. He had a team once. He had a team for a while. It was Patterson and
mm.
Cornette. He had Vince Russo as the head writer. He had
Okay.
Chris Kretz, what's his name? That Chris Kretzky guy. Stephanie was the head writer for years and years, and she had a team underneath her. That's just how it is. Tony Khan for years was the guy at the top, and he had other people giving him ideas. That is how it was. When he took over at the end of 2019, he was the guy that was writing the show, and he had other people giving him ideas. So throughout that whole period that we enjoy, you know, throughout the pandemic and leading up to Adam Cole and these lot showing up, he was the head booker. He was the guy that was coming out with all this stuff. But then you get burned out. There's only so much ideas that you have.
Yeah.
There's only so much ideas that you have, and there's only so much things you can steal from the past. So now he's got a booking committee of ex WWE writers
Ah.
he's hired, and he's got all these people throwing ideas at him, and he's editing all this and he's putting it together. But there's too many WWE writers because the show is a sports. It's become a very sports entertainment heavy show. And he said in December, what is it, the Continental Classic? We're going to be more sports based, and and that was great for a few weeks. But for whatever reason, they don't do that anymore. He's gone back to sports entertainment again. Last week's episode with the bloodbath for Malachi Black and the
Yeah.
cars and the heel bosses that have taken over the company, and it's just that isn't something that I need in my wrestling. It really isn't. It really isn't. I don't need that. I don't know about
Mm.
you, but It's just I can't take that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the product it's weird because obviously like I remember Revolution time. I was like, oh my god, the product's back, the product's back, the product's back because it was like I'd say um from like from the beginning of the year, um it felt like Samoa Joe's title reign. I'd say Samoa Joe's title reign. It felt like okay, the product was in good stead again. You had a really good program with Hangman, Swerve, Joe. I feel like okay, the product is somewhat coming back, but then I don't know. I think post Dynasty, I just became less enthused, and then it became okay. I'll miss this Dynamite. I'll miss that Dynamite, and then it was like I don't really care if I miss Dynamite anymore. And which is strange for me because Dynamite's been a part of my routine for 5 years. What? Dynamite's been around for what? 4 years? 5? Dynamite specifically.
Dynamite's been around since 2019 September.
Okay, so yeah, Dynamite's been a part of my wrestling routine for a significant period of time. So the fact that it's gone now from my current wrestling routine is like something's up with the product. But I think let's get into the pay-per-view. And then we can discuss because I think some of our critiques about the overall products can be seen in this pay-per-view, which I still thought was a good pay-per-view. Like overall was a good pay-per-view. I just think part of my lack of enjoyment does come from my lack of investment. I'll be frank. I think
Do we have any nice comments in that we need to read out or anything?
I think let me see. Oh, Navy asked, "What's Mass's issue with New Japan?" I don't get it.
I don't know. I've always heard he's just not a fan of New Japan.
Yeah,
I think he turns up on television, but
yeah, he's shit on them so many interviews. Yeah. They chanted "Thank you, Vince." I do remember. Oh, I remember that. Oh,
yeah, they chanted "Thank you, Vince."
Yeah.
Oh,
terrible.
That was on CNN. That was on CNN.
Yeah. Big up Brian. Yo, you guys see Luke Jacobs won SS16. No, I didn't. Congratulations, Luke
I didn't
Jacobs.
know that. That's great.
Yeah, Luke Jacobs is a really good wrestler. Like
really good wrestler.
Really good wrestler. Okay, before we get into the actual pay-per-view, we'll just break down a few of the numbers and statistics, so on and so forth. So AEW Double or Nothing took place yesterday at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. At the time, there were 7,500 tickets that were distributed. I don't have an updated number yet if there were more people seated because sometimes the amount of tickets distributed doesn't match the amount of attendance. But those are the numbers I have in front of me, so it's a pretty decent, solid number. But like we said before, like 2 years ago, with pay-per-views, they were doing better numbers with a show like Forbidden Door. So
it's not even that at the MGM Grand, in 2019, they sold the place out. It was like 14,000.
Yeah.
Then in 2022, which was the next time they could because of the pandemic, they did $1 million house. I think they sold out that year as well.
Yeah.
Last year they did 10,000. Now they're at
diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Diminishing returns, which says a lot. But in regards to the pre-show, I did not watch the pre-show. Did you watch the pre-show?
Nah, I don't. I didn't watch the pre-show. There's nothing on there that intrigued me at all.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So we start the pay-per-view off with Will Ospreay and Roderick Strong. I thought this was a good match. However, I said this, I thought it was way too much smoke and mirrors. Interference here, interference there. I'm like, the match pause, stop. I'm like, I want to see Will Ospreay and Roderick Strong just wrestle. Like, I knew there was going to be some sort of interference from the Undisputed Kingdom, but the amount, even like the refs stopping the match, I don't like.
Ridiculous.
I don't like stuff like that. I thought it was overbooked, and yeah, it definitely took away from the match. And I think it messed up their timing as well because there were certain spots that were, I wouldn't say sloppy, but you could tell they weren't pulled off the way that they usually pulled off these spots. And I think the stops and starts, the interferences kind of held the match back. Overall, still a decent match, still a good match, in fact. But Yeah,
I
just the smoke
thought
and mirrors annoyed
I
me.
thought it was a really good match.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good match. I thought Roderick Strong looked excellent.
Oh,
I
Roderick
thought
Strong was phenomenal.
I thought he looked really good, and those chops that those two hitting each other with, they were so hard. They were just incredibly tough chops. The outside interference. The ref was such an idiot. I was watching it and I was like, "This ref is an idiot." He came across as an arse, like this incompetent referee. He's no good at his job. Like, it's just if this was real, you'd get rid of those two guys out there immediately. Wardlow
Absolutely.
came in, he turned around. Wardlow was in the ring.
Was still there. Like Wardlow had him like
Yeah,
bro in the power bomb position, and the ref's like, "Oh, just get out of the ring." Like, no.
if Will Ospreay, if he lost, you'd fucking get a lawyer and you'd want to sue because it was ridiculous or whatever.
Yeah.
The thing that irritated me most about this, and Will Ospreay was going to win. Of course, he's not going to lose to Roderick Strong, But it's like the thing that irritated me the most was when Callis jumped in and told him to do the Tiger Driver, then Will Ospreay's second thoughts. And to me, that is just the stupidest thing because, okay, if he hurt Bryan Danielson and Bryan Danielson hadn't come back, well, then that's fine. I could understand his issue with doing the move. Bryan Danielson has been back for 3 weeks. He's wrestled a couple times on TV and he main evented that show tonight. There should be no more They should have just forgotten about that and just moved on. Like, it's just stupid. Absolutely stupid.
I think, and also I don't like teasing the finisher. I feel like if you're gonna tease the finisher and have him not hit it, it should have cost him the match. His indecisiveness should have cost him the match. He wasn't gonna lose, but if you're gonna do a spot like that, where like a wrestler's clearly compromised or distracted, I don't know. I always think it should end in like the wrestler losing. But Will Ospreay winning the title does make sense. Obviously now this happened obviously after the match. Will had an interview. Sorry?
Okay, before we go any further, I just want to say that on the pre-show, Tony Khan had Martha Hart out there, and they announced that the Owen Hart tournament, men's and women's, was going to start in June, and the final was going to be in Calgary in July, and that the winners of both tournaments would get title shots all in Wembley.
Yeah,
which is a really important thing. It's really good that they've done that because the Owen, I mean, it's for nothing really, isn't it? It means nothing and it's for nothing as well. So I just want to add that in because really, Will Ospreay should main event Wembley going for the title. That's to me, that's the only thing that should be going on. He's the hottest actor in the company. He was the hottest guy on the show last year.
And his reactions during the match were like he got major pops. Like that crowd was alive for Will.
So that is. If you want to come back for a third year, you need to put that guy in the main event and have him win the title. You can't, and if you're going to put him in there, you can't have him lose either because that will kill your house. You will kill the town if you have Will Ospreay going there in the main event, Wembley, and he loses. That is how you kill the town. That's an old expression. It means that you can't go back to that particular era anymore because you can't draw because you offended the audience so much that you can't go back to that era anymore. But I just wanted to say, I was wanting to add that in because Martha Hart came out there and she got a really nice reception. And I want to say this because I saw on Twitter today, I saw some WWE fans once again upset that Martha Hart is dealing with Tony Khan and they don't understand why she'd want to deal with Tony Khan and not, deal with WWE. And I'm not going to go into too much detail because you know that I can speak about this for a long time, but I just want to say that they killed her husband. Killed her husband. It wasn't on purpose. Vince McMahon did not intentionally murder Owen Hart, but what they did do was they
malpracticed.
Do you want to know something? Obviously, they were quoted a price for the guy that usually does that stunt, the harness, and Owen was going to come from the top of the arena, and the guy quoted them $5,000. That's how much he wanted to do that stunt in Kansas City. And they said it was too much. It wasn't in their budget. So they went with another guy who was $2,000. All right. So they saved $3,000 on doing that stunt. And they got the guy who claimed that he used to set up the stunts for Sting in WCW. He didn't set them up. He worked on them, but he didn't set them up. And he didn't work on all of them. He worked on a few. But just put that into context. They were quoted $5,000 for the guy to manage that stunt in Kansas City, and they said it was too much. It wasn't in their budget, so they went with the guy for $2,000. But I see people so upset that she won't deal with them again. It's like she lost her husband because of that, but also the practices that they did after that when she sued them were just absolutely vile. We won't go into it now, but that company did some awful, awful things to her and her family. And if she doesn't want to deal with them again, well, then she shouldn't
It's
have
her
to deal with them
prerogative.
again. It's her business. Her children don't have a dad. And also, I see people saying she should let him in the Hall of Fame. Why? What is the Hall of Fame? It's just a plaque. They give you a ring, and they give you a ring, and you get
Newsflash: some things are more important in wrestling. Some things are more important.
exactly. In
Like,
case
it's
it's the Hall of Fame, it means
principle.
nothing. It's just
It's principle. Like, what the hell?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I see, she should honor his legacy. If anyone wants to watch an Owen Hart match, they can type his name in on the WWE Network, and there's probably hundreds of matches that they can watch. There's no one stopping you from watching them. The fact that she doesn't want to deal with them, you should respect her wishes. And I see too many people disrespecting her, even in our Discord, saying things about Martha Hart, and I just think it's pretty low. It's pretty low. Like, let that woman be. But anyway, Wembley.
Yeah. I was going to, because now obviously Ospreay's international champion. He obviously said he's going to take the title to CMLL, DDT, New Japan. Obviously, he's going to take that title around. What does that do in terms of, one, elevating the title, and two, you said that the plan should be for him to main event Wembley, All In. How do we get there? Do we get there by him becoming a double champ? Do we get there by him losing the title? How do we solve that issue? Because right now, I think they're trying to kind of do a bait and switch where, okay, Swerve and Ospreay on two divergent paths, but if you notice, they've always been speaking about each other. They obviously Ospreay appeared on Swerve's podcast. I think there's been a few clips that I've seen Swerve and Ospreay talking about each other, potentially main eventing, you know what I'm saying? All In. So how do we get there if Ospreay's international champion?
Well, he's not going to lose. He shouldn't lose for a long time. He's got the belt. I mean, if he wants to go to these places, great. I don't think that's going to hurt all. I wouldn't send him to Uganda, though. I wouldn't send him there. I know I see people, because he said he wants to do it. I wouldn't send him there. I wouldn't have him go over there and get hurt over there. This is not.
We had Tate on our most recent episode.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, and he went. Obviously, he just went to Uganda. Yeah. So they were surprisingly not safe, but safer than some independents here. Yeah, he said it's like the ground. It's pretty like it's not. He said it's not amazing, but it's fine. I wouldn't mind him in Uganda. Just don't have him do anything crazy. Like, obviously you got to protect your champion, but like I think that PR wise, if you're talking about perception, that is a good move
if they're going to take advantage of it.
Mm.
If they're going to take advantage of it and benefit from it, cool. But I'm very skeptical that we'd even get any footage of it on Dynamite, let alone let alone in a newspaper. I remember this story that Bobby Heenan once told about Bill Goldberg, because Mark McGuire, who was a baseball player, very famous one years ago, really wanted to meet Bill Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
And when he met Bill Goldberg, he was really excited to meet Bill Goldberg, and he rubbed Bill Goldberg's head. Apparently, this is a story. He rubbed his head, and that day, and then he went out there and he put on an amazing performance. Amazing performance. I don't remember how many home runs he hit, but apparently he did a really good game after he rubbed Bill Goldberg's head for luck. And it's just one of those stories that you hear over time. But it actually happened, I know, because at the time people were talking about it. But there's no video footage of it, him and Goldberg meeting. There's no footage of him meeting Bill Goldberg. There's no footage of him rubbing Bill Goldberg's bald head. And I remember Bobby Heenan telling the story of that. If Vince McMahon knew that Mark McGuire wanted to meet Bill Goldberg, he would have set the crew down there and they would have filmed everything. They would have filmed Goldberg arriving, Mark McGuire arriving, and they would have filmed the whole thing and they would have aired it on television. And once again, Vince McMahon is a proper promoter. Tony Khan is one thing I say about Tony Khan, because I think he's good at a lot of things, but as far as being a promoter, he's not.
Mm-hmm.
He's not that at all. I've just been seeing that over the last year or so. There's a lot of things that I missed, but yeah, if Will wanted to go, fine, but I don't know if I send him.
Yeah,
because if he goes over there, gets hurt, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Bill said he's gonna defend his title in DDT. Tetsuya Endo versus Ospreay. I've seen a few Tetsuya Endo matches. Like Tetsuya Endo is really good. Like he's a really good wrestler. Navy either Ospreay is winning or Hangman. I think the long-term story between Hangman and Swerve would make a great main event for All In. I'm not opposed to Hangman and Swerve. I'm not opposed to that. I think obviously Hangman was obviously his missus was pregnant, so I think that's why he had to kind of leave abruptly. But I think
working, guys. We need Hangman on TV. We need him on TV. He's never
we need him.
Television.
We definitely need him on TV. But I think he would have been champion. Probably not by now, but I think he would have been champion had he not left. I think the storyline was building to Hangman winning the championship before Swerve again, but we'll never know.
That's the story, isn't it?
That's the story.
That is the story that they've been telling, is that Hangman, if you go back and you think about it, he would have never allowed Swerve to win the title. And really, Swerve should have beaten Hangman for his first AEW World title. That should have been...
Yeah. That should have been it. Yeah. Like Super and Smokey, all hands on deck. We need all hands on deck. We need all
hands on deck. You know what? Well, Smokey's has said that. I see people often saying, "Oh, you know, they need a brand split and they need guys on Saturday and they need guys on Wednesday." Let me tell you something. They need everyone on these shows. They need everyone on every show. They need to draw. They need. You look at these Saturday cards and they're so weak. These Saturday cards. I'm telling you, if Collision was up the road from my house, I don't even know if I'd go, like, because the cards are so shit. Like Dynamite is different, but like those cards on Saturday, you look at those cards and you're like, what the fuck? Like, imagine paying tickets months ago for a Collision taping, and then you go there. And it's funny because I was looking on posters. We didn't do last week's show, but I was looking on posters, Collision posters, just looking at the names that are advertised. And I was just comparing that to how many people actually appeared on the shows compared to what's advertised. And we had an average of 9 faces on these posters. And the average out of 9 was 5 of the 9 would actually appear in front of the live audience on a Collision. So that is nearly half of the people advertising those posters never appear on the actual Collision show. And that would piss me right off. If I bought tickets, you've got Will Ospreay and you've got Hangman Page or whatever on a poster, and then I get fucking the inventory and Brian Keith and all these guys on the show, and you're like, all right, where's Will Ospreay? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you, man.
And I've got nothing against those wrestlers. I like them all. They're very talented, but you know,
we'll go on to the next match. The Bang Bang Gang defeat.
It wasn't a match. We had MJF come back with Adam Cole.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, I completely.
How could you forget?
Yeah, look, we had Adam Cole come out first, and then we had the return of MJF, which I thought was well done.
Excellent. I thought it was great.
I thought it was well done. I thought his promo was excellent.
Great promo.
Excellent promo. The Triple H biker jacket, I was like, boy.
I loved it. I thought it was so clever.
The Triple H biker jacket was hilarious. And MJF is back, and like I said, like, me and you have spoke ad nauseum about MJF's title reign, but MJF is ridiculously talented.
He says he sounds like he's listened though. Everything that he said, he's listened. I hope he has.
I definitely hope he has.
He's talking the talk right now.
He's talking the talk. I'm just with MJF. It's just like, obviously the last sample side we had of him as a babyface wasn't the best, but I don't know. I'm just still, obviously he has to be babyface because of this Adam Cole stuff. But I'm just waiting for him to be a heel again.
I thought they finished that yesterday. I thought they killed that off yesterday.
Yeah, we'll just to kick in. Yeah, because I don't think we're going to get a match because Adam Cole's not fresh healed up yet.
That was over. I got the impression that they blew that off yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw they blew that off. He had Adam Cole, kicked him in the balls, gave him a brain buster, and Adam Cole carried out, and he dismissed Adam Cole after that, and he started talking about something else. I don't know if Cole's back now. He's not back. I know that much, but I don't know if they're going to move along and do something else with MJF, and then when Adam comes back, whenever that is, he can be a babyface and feud with MJF. I don't know, but I just saw that, and I just thought that they were done.
Fair. Obviously we're not going to address that now because Adam's injured. But where do you see MJF going in terms of like his potential opponents, potential feuds going forward?
I thought, well, it looks he should be a heel. He should be a heel. He's not going to be a heel for a bit, even though he may act like one. He's going to be cheered for a while until he gets in there in a program with somebody who the fans like genuinely like over him, like Will Ospreay or who else do they like?
Swerve right now.
I think they'd pick Max over Swerve, though, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You don't think so? You think they cheer Max? You think they cheer Swerve over Max?
I think they cheer Swerve over. I think they cheer Swerve over Max because I think I think it's how they pivot it. I think if like Max starts to heal it up a little bit, like they'll cheer Swerve. Like I think Swerve's very much 100% full on babyface right now.
Max came back yesterday, and if he is going to be a babyface, him and Ospreay will be the two biggest babyfaces in the company. Like Ospreay is the biggest babyface in the company right now.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
He's way more popular than Swerve. Swerve is I don't know if he missed his point or if he even got there, but yeah, Max. I mean, God, you look at the programs that he hasn't even had in AEW. Him and Ospreay, him and Swerve would be really fun. Like him and Swerve would be really, really fun. Like those are two that I'm looking at, and I'm like, yeah, him and Okada. Like at some point when Okada's babyface, whenever that is, that would be fantastic as well.
Him and Adam would be interesting.
Hangman, they've never done that.
Copeland.
Oh yeah. There's you can just know what that story is going to be. He's older. He's a WWE guy.
Yeah.
It's like that's the story.
Have Max and Christian had anything with each other?
Never. Not that. No, that's another one.
Promos between those two would be excellent. Like there's a couple guys.
Just remember though, like eventually Edge and Christian are going to be together. Copeland and Christian are going to be a team, and once they do that, there are so many different programs that you could put together. You can have them against the Bucks. You could have them against Max and whoever he is with at the time as a program. There's a lot of different things when those two get together. Like, and even if you want to throw Nick Wayne in there, there's a trio as a way to get Nick Wayne over. There's a lot of things that could happen going forward. But yeah, Adam Copeland and Edge would be great. I think that would be awesome. And even for my own fucking perversity, I guess, Max and Shibata would be excellent. This is a Wednesday match, 15 minutes. I think that match should be absolutely fucking fantastic. I'd love to see that. Like,
for sure.
But it's great to see him back because they need it. He was their biggest draw for the whole last year. Yeah, big time. Even when they stopped selling tickets, the shows that he appeared on would always had an increase compared to the ones he didn't, and also his TV rating quarters were always really good.
Yeah,
always really good. So it's good that he's back anyway.
Matt, I mean, this show kind of highlighted one thing. I know I don't mean to pick on the guy, but you know how they had this 4 pillars discourse. The gap between those Max, Darby, Jack, and Sammy Guevara is astounding at this point. It's unfair because Sammy's not on TV right now. So
but it wouldn't matter if he was anyway. But I like
but
Sammy.
I think especially that obviously Jack Perry, Darby's always been consistent, but yeah, just the gap is widening, and it's like, yeah, Sammy, we need something. We need something from you because I like Sammy. I think he's like a really good wrestler, but it's just there's levels now.
Jack Perry is also really good as well. I thought
Yeah,
Jack Perry had potential to be a really hot heel a few weeks ago. And then when he came back, then I'm just once again it's the follow up of AEW. Do you remember
yeah,
when they did the angle with him and Tony Khan and the Bucks when they beat up Tony Khan? It's like the
yeah.
next week. We haven't even got him cutting a promo in the ring since that time.
No,
You know, you'd
no.
think immediately the following week or the Saturday after that, you think that would be the next thing to do, would get him in the ring to open the show or whatever to cut a promo. And they didn't do that. Oh, he's never done that. And once again, you get a guy with momentum and then you just don't do anything. And it's a shame, really. He's not the only one. There's always people that they do that with, but they
Oh,
never.
there's one on the card that we're gonna get onto that, boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the next match was the Bang Bang Gang versus Death Triangle. I hate that name. As a legit name, like I thought as that their secondary moniker name was a good name, but as a name, yeah. I thought this match was good. I thought this match was solid, like good. I think Pac is like probably one of the best sellers in wrestling, bumpers in wrestling. Probably like the way he takes this DDT bump is
That one he took
amazing.
yesterday was fucking brutal.
Yeah, like,
Brutal.
yeah,
Looked
I,
evil.
yeah. I thought he legit hurt himself, but no, it's like nah. That's just how Pac bumps. That's just how Pac bumps. Obviously it's good. It's good to have Juice Robinson back. Juice Robinson's like a core piece to that team. He's so needed. With the trios belts, it's kind of like okay, I'm happy like they're doing something with them ish, but eh. Sorry, guy. I don't mean to sound negative, but it's just eh. That's how I thought. Eh.
I will say this. I thought that out of the 6, 4 of those wrestlers looked really, really good. I thought Jay White looked really good in that match.
Yeah.
Ray Fenix looked excellent.
Yeah.
He always looks excellent anyway, but the whole Death Triangle team looked great, and Jay White looked excellent. Those other 2 guys, yeah, they're useless. They're so useless. They're so wild the way they run around the ring, and you can see them. They move too fast. They run around so wildly. They bump. They're just like their dad. It's like their dad had no control over himself when he used to take bumps. He just get up and flip flop around, and they do exactly the same thing as their dad. If you watch them, they're all over the place, and the wrestlers seem to have to move out of the way while they're doing their shit. It's really, really annoying. I watched them, and I'd hate to wrestle those 2. Like, I really would. Like, I'm sure they're lovely guys and stuff, and I do find them amusing. Like, they're really unlikable, and that's excellent. But yeah, not for me. I really don't enjoy watching them wrestle. And Juice Robinson coming out, Jay White needs that guy because without it, he's such a good part of the act. He's such a needed part of the act. I wouldn't have had him come back on the pay-per-view. I'd have left that for TV. There's a lot of things I would have left for TV. It's just so much.
Yeah, so much. Yeah, I think this pay-per-view was too much interference. There was a lot. Like, it got to the point where we'll talk about this with other matches as well. But there was like, how many no disqualification type stipulations can we have on a pay-per-view? Because like we had like obviously the triple threat, Jericho Shibata Hook, which obviously had the table spot, which we'll talk about. We had obviously the steel cage match with Adam Cole playing Malachi. We have Anarchy in the Arena. I haven't even watched that match next, but we know it's Anarchy in the Arena. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah, it was a lot going on. I do think the trios title. Yeah, they're doing something with them now, and there's an actual program with them, but they need to change. That belt needs to be the TV belt where that needs to be a party belt where every week you just put guys on TV and just have crazy matches. This doesn't even matter whoever you've got there. Commander, put Commander in there with whoever. Ash Andretti and somebody else. Put them in there. And
some belts don't need grandiose storyline. Some belts just wrestle. Like I think that's the thing with AEW. It's like just wrestle and like have like put meaningful matches. Like like, of course, you have to tell good storyline and stuff like that. But with some belts, the way you get them over is just that the way the trios belt got over was
Best of
through the amazing tournament that they did
tournament,
for the
amazing
belts,
tournament. Yeah.
the amazing tournament they did for the belts to build up for the belts, the finals, and then obviously the best of 7 where that belt was defended every week. That's what you do with that belt. You just and even I would even give credit to the early part of the House of Black Reign where they had the House of Black Rules where they defended it every week. Like that was interesting until it wasn't. I think it fell off. I think the wheels ran out on that one. But like in the beginning, that they were defending that belt regularly. I think once the Acclaimed got it, it was like and then now we are where we are.
I just think they should just have matches and do title changes.
Yeah.
Not every title in AEW needs. Not every champion needs to have a long reign. It's like you can just do hot potato just every week. I don't care. Every 2 weeks, have guys drop the trios title. Just keep it interesting. It don't have to be for all the belts. It's that one title. It's it could potentially be like a chaotic atmosphere where people are just diving all over the place, having crazy matches and street fights or whatever, trio street fights. They can lose the belt on a Saturday and then have a rematch on a Wednesday and win it back. And you could do that. And it's just creates interest in something. You know, obviously this isn't WCW where Russo would do that with every belt on every show. But I mean, it's okay to do that every so often and for champions to win and lose their belts all the time. It's fine.
Yeah. The next match we had Toni Storm versus Serena Deeb. I'll be honest, I kind of phased out of this match, so I don't really have much to say. I
don't know why Serena Deeb's on pay-per-view, like trying to go for the belt. She's never going to win, is she? Like it looks like the whole Mariah May thing. It looks like they're turning up that one now.
Yeah.
Because did you see the ending of that match where Tony thought that Luther was going to throw in the towel, but it was really Mariah May? Yeah, so it looks like they're doing something there where they're going to speed that up a bit. But yeah, that match, it was fine. All right.
Yeah, I think obviously, I think it's obviously due to star power, but it's very obvious that the TBS title is the priority in this division right now. It's due to star power, which fine, but
there's a lot of women out. There's a lot of women.
Yeah,
out.
Yeah. It's obviously due to like Mercedes being a draw and stuff like that, and even like the Willow, Chris Statlander, Stokely thing that's been built. That's one of the few things you can say that it's been built up for a long time. So yeah, that title just feels like more of a priority and the emphasis at the moment, and the women's picture is kind of the main women's title kind of feels like okay, like we're just waiting to see Mariah May and Toni Storm eventually go at everything. Everything else just feels like okay, this is filler. Unfortunately,
you think they're doing that at Wembley or?
Probably. I don't think that needs to. I mean, okay, it needs to be for the title in the sense where Tony's championed at the moment. But honestly, you could do a feud like that without the title. But
okay.
Yeah, but
I think that's what they're doing because she wants Mariah should want the belt, right?
Yeah.
So kind of trying to get Tony in a false sense of security. I guess I'm thinking way too deep into this, but like I just I could see her winning the tournament so they could do it at Wembley and have a go over at Wembley.
Yeah.
I could see that, but you know, this Britt Baker still hasn't come back yet. Jamie Hayter still ain't back yet. Camille hasn't even showed up. Megan Bain ain't showed up either. So there's 4 people there that are either due to debut or return.
Yeah,
you know, they're really doing something with this women's division. Like they're really trying, and I'm quite. There's not that much negativity around the women's division as there was previously.
No. I think they're definitely trying something. It's just more so waiting to get their wheels turning. I think the women's division for once is like the one of the divisions that have not the least amount. I don't have too many problems with it. I think this is one of the better Timeless Tony matches. I just haven't enjoyed Timeless Tony's matches overall, but I think this one was but this one I think Serena Deeb is a very competent opponent. And not competent, so a very good opponent.
No, she's good.
Yeah, very good opponent.
She's got no credibility. No credibility.
Yeah.
Like, you just know she's not going to win.
Yeah. We'll go to the next match. Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta. Good match. Good match.
Good match, but once again, I'm talking about the show being too long.
Yeah, this match didn't need to be on the show.
Nah, could have done this on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or fucking Saturday. Put it on Saturday. Nothing important ever happens on Saturday. Put it on Saturday.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good match, but I didn't need it.
No.
Didn't need it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, this middle portion of the pay-per-view lost me. Like I said, nothing on this pay-per-view was bad at all. Nothing on this pay-per-view was bad, but it was like a middle portion where I was just like, especially the next match. We don't really have much thoughts on Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta, so we'll just skip to the next match.
Orange
Cassidy won. Chris Jericho versus Hook and Katsuri Shibata. This match was. I said it had moments. It had moments. That table spot that
oh my goodness,
that could have ended horribly.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I mean, with table spots, there's always a risk, but my goodness.
Yeah.
That was dangerous. Like, and obviously, I saw in the comment section like, "Oh my god, AEW is such a dangerous and unsafe company to work in." I didn't know, but that spot in particular, yeah, because I think I'm you know me, I'm not squeamish when it comes to things, but that one, yeah, freak accident, of course, but damn.
Yeah, that could have been really bad.
That could have been really bad.
Yeah, he impaled himself. I actually never watched the bulk of this match.
This match was, I don't care. I know. I think Chris Jericho and AEW right now. Obviously, I know you've been defending him.
I always defend Chris Jericho.
Yeah,
I think he deserves it.
Yeah, but I just think
I think they bully him a bit.
I think I'm completely uninterested in him and Hook.
For me, it's Hook.
For me, it's both of these guys. I don't. And I think for me, it's the you said it before, it's the follow up. I think the Samoa Joe match did a lot in terms of like me being excited about Hook. I was like, okay, that Samoa Joe match probably the best match Hook's ever had. And the follow up from that was bad. Like, I remember they did the dumb angle about like him like throwing around security, which I didn't like. I'm not as down on him as a wrestler as other people. I know some people think he's not good at all, or like not particularly like great. I think he's pretty decent as a wrestler. I just think, I don't know. Again, it's the follow up, because like if you said this like 2 years ago when Hook debuted, it was mania. It was like, oh my god, like Hook's great. Hook's like, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, with Hook being great, part of it was like he was a meme at that point, so it was fun to like just say, oh my god, he's amazing. But like his presentation in the beginning was excellent, and I think right now they don't know what to do with him. And obviously, Shibata isn't the Shibata of old. He's out there having fun, but I actually want him to win a few matches now. Like, he loses way too much. Like, Shibata was never like world heavyweight champion or something like in New Japan, but he won stuff. Like, he won matches. Like, he was still like a credible. Like, Shibata should be like the way we perceive like a Roderick Strong. That's where Shibata should be on the card. You know, someone he's not going to go for the main title. Against proper opponents, he'll lose, but you know, against Shibata should be out there beating mid-carders. He should be beating guys like Brian Keith. He should be going just beating guys like Brian Keith, firm there with anyone, beating these guys, and then when you want to put him against like, you know, the Ospreys of the world and so on and so forth, then have him lose. But I think he loses way too much.
He does. That's one of the reasons why I didn't want to watch this match, because I knew he'd take the pinfall. I knew he'd get pinned, so I was just like, I'd never have him lose. To me, he's a legend. He's a wrestling legend, and I think he should be treated as such. So I wouldn't have him lose any matches. I mean, I'd
keep him in a certain position.
Yeah, I would have him go out there every week or every couple of weeks, and I'd have him destroy someone. You know, just destroy someone, or he could be a mystery partner or whatever, and have him go out there and just destroy people. I'd barely have him sell, if I'm honest with you, NK, because I think he's earned that. I really do. So, I mean, if you want him to go out there eventually to do a TV match where he goes to the world title because he hasn't lost anything, people might think he's got a shot. Then he can have a great match and then he can do a job. But him losing every single week, I'm sure he's fine with doing it. I'm sure he's happy to do it actually. But just because the guy's happy to
doesn't mean you should.
Doesn't mean you should. He's not the same. You know, well, I'll use the Sandman as an example. The Sandman barely won any matches after, he used to do a lot of jobs. In fact, he'd argue when Paul Heyman wanted him to win because he knew that he could still get over if he lost. And I respect that. But I do think, as much as, people romanticize certain things about wrestling, you do need to win this to remain credible. And they can't do anything with you if you keep losing.
Yeah.
Even if you want to, you can't have a world title match on TV because you keep doing jobs. You can't have any type of title match really because you keep doing jobs. Yeah, it's
credibility. It's a perfect example. Obviously, this was like magnitudes different, but back to the period where AEW was hot. Remember when they announced John Moxley and CM Punk? Both guys hadn't, and the reason obviously because of the star power, we were excited for the match, but both guys didn't fucking lose. So when it came to that match on TV, everyone was like, what the hell was going to happen? Because these two guys don't lose. Like, Punk at that point was undefeated. Moxley's AEW record is he's probably got one of like the best records in AEW in terms of like wins and losses. Like he doesn't lose at all. He doesn't lose a lot. So when it came to that match, it was like, oh shit. Like there were stakes because those guys don't lose.
Yeah, exactly.
So and I think you just have to do that when it comes to when it comes to building guys. Of course, like there are guys who Shibata's not a person where I don't want to see him challenge for the world title, but just have him be Shibata, and I feel like he's not Shibata in AEW. He's just making money, which it is what it is.
I'm happy. Yeah, I'd be happy if he went out there and he just absolutely beat the shit out of someone on TV. 90 seconds. Yeah, just beat him up.
Action Andretti, like somebody.
Yeah, whoever. It doesn't matter. Have him beat up whoever, Brian Keith or the Boulder beer guy. Have him beat him up or whatever for 90 seconds, 2 minutes, and it's win. Send everyone home happy. I don't know. I see Shibata losing matches, and it doesn't.
Like the first couple, I was like, okay, it was to Bryan Danielson, it was to Orange Cassidy. I was like, fine.
That's different. Yeah.
I was like, fine, but then it's like, okay, now please, yeah, please, please. But moving on. We had John Moxley versus Konosuke Takeshita. Good match. I hated the finish.
Yeah.
Konosuke shouldn't have lost, especially to a one-armed Moxley.
He lost to a one-arm man. He lost to a one-arm man. I don't think he could win. Because the whole New Japan thing. I don't think they were going to have a DDT guy beat John Moxley.
Pin their champion.
Yeah, I didn't think they'd let him do that.
But then just make it a world title match instead of eliminate a match.
I don't think they'd let him do a world title match because of the DDT connection. Yeah, I just don't think so. Me personally, I wouldn't have booked the match. I would have done something else.
Yeah, exactly. If there's so much red tape around the match, I think Takeshita is a guy who needs something.
Yeah.
Who needs something again? But going back to the follow up, he beat Kenny Omega twice?
1 week.
Yeah, in a week.
Sunday.
He beat Kenny Omega twice in a week, and nothing. Nothing substantial has come from that.
And he doesn't win matches on TV. Do you remember Remember we were talking in a group chat a while ago, and I looked it up, and he hadn't won a match on television in friggin' last year. He hadn't won a singles match on television.
Yeah. I think the last win I remember him having was when he's absolutely flatlined Darby Allin.
Oh yeah, so this would have been before. So that was the last time he probably won. But before then, it was like October or something last year.
But then you flatline Darby Allin, but Darby Allin's hotter than him. Still, way hotter. Way hotter. Weird, but I just not a fan. In regards to good match though. Good match.
Yeah. I expected more, but
I don't know. like I said, I think my sourness towards that. This is when I like around the time of the pay-per-view, I was like, I'm just kind of slogging through it. But good match, but I don't care. And it's sad, especially I think this match annoyed me the most because it's like this is the IWGP champion on AEW television. Something that if you told me in like 2019 was happening on AEW television, heck, I marked out more seeing Kenta in a pandemic show. I marked out more seeing I marked out more seeing John Moxley defend the US title against Yuji Nagata. I was ridiculously excited when that happened. Now, and I think that's a testament to not just AEW but New Japan, where going into this Forbidden Door show, I'm like, I don't know what, aside from like a few matches that they could do, they are really going to have to try to sell this to me, which is sad because listen, I was the guy fighting wars just on this platform just to get people to respect the fact that New Japan and AEW are collaborating. So coming from me, it hurts, but I care about New Japan way less than I care about AEW. If you said, okay, Dominion or Double or Nothing, I'm picking Double or Nothing 10 times out of 10. I do not care about what's going on over there. Like that one, you can't even get me to watch a New Japan show these days. I know. And that's a testament to how far that company has fallen because like you think AEW's stagnant, that company's in the mud.
What are you thinking? Because they got the Battle Royal on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Well, importantly, the winner of that gets a title shot against Swerve. So, what are you thinking? Who's going over?
Oh, the title shot against Swerve.
Yeah. I'm thinking Shingo.
Yes.
We barely see him. We barely see him. I mean, we've seen him a couple times.
Yes. Yes.
AEW,
Yes.
but
Shingo makes absolute sense, and I think it'll be a great match. The problem is the problem.
He's occasionally jobs. They beat him all the time. So
that's the problem with Shingo. It's like it's the exact problem we spoke about to Takeshita. Like the follow up of Shingo after him like carrying the company in the pandemic has been abysmal. So I think it's Shingo. It's a guy that the New Japan will be comfortable with him losing. Will get a good match, and Shingo has that credit in the bank in terms of like he's a name that fans of New Japan respect, because I think at this point, then I don't think they'd send Naito out to get jobbed out, nor should they, because he's physically done.
You think? So, I think he's working Moxley. I think there's a good chance he's going to wrestle Moxley
again.
Yeah. I'll be fine with that. I like the last match. I like the last match, and I prefer to see him against Moxley than a lot of people. Really,
I think Shota. I think that's the match you do.
Yeah,
I think that's the match you do. I think Shota's in terms of like investment in AEW. I mean, Shota had that amazing performance at Forbidden Door 1. In that like 4-way match, obviously you got the Shota and Moxley history there. I think that's if you're gonna do Forbidden Door, that's the match, and you've got a story there as well. But yeah, in terms of New Japan guys challenging, see, I'm so out of the loop. Who's a contender?
Suji. I wouldn't want to beat him really. I don't know.
Yota's a good shout, but yeah, but the problem is with New Japan, they've shown they don't mind beating Yosuji. They don't mind beating Yosuji.
Dave Finlay could be, I suppose.
I do not want to see David Finlay and Swerve. I think that's a waste of a title match.
Yes.
That's an absolute waste of a title match.
Not a lot to pick from. There's not a lot to pick from really, unless they go for your name value. So I mean, Ishii's a bigger name in the US than a lot of people.
Yeah, but he
never wins a match.
He never wins. That's the thing. There's a lot of matches that could be something, but I think you've burnt a lot of these guys' credibility in the West by having them like lose every
Yeah.
time they appear. I think,
Any promotion, these guys just look. It's like
yeah,
doesn't matter where they show up, they just do jobs.
yeah. So,
Even their own shows in America, though, issue that loses matches.
yeah. So, but yeah, I think Shingo's the one. I think anything other than Shingo, from what I can think of right now, is a disappointment. Bro, I'm even on the side. I'm even thinking, yeah, because I'm thinking of names. Because obviously, I remember watching Wrestle Kingdom this year, bro. I can't remember that Wrestle Kingdom card.
It had
Aside from Okada Danielson and the main event,
Tamatonga against Shingo. You remember that one? And
barely.
that was a good match.
They
It might be
always
the
have
best
good matches.
Tamatonga match I've ever seen, actually, to be fair.
Yeah. Tamatonga and Shingo do have good chemistry together.
Might be the best match I ever saw him have. Like, what else is on that show? Who did Naito and
Sonata main
Sonata?
event.
Yeah. Oh my God, Moxley against Sonata. Could you imagine?
Oh no.
Oh,
So Sonata faced Jack Perry last year, and I do not even remember. That match was I don't
it's like
remember that
10
nothing
minutes.
about that match.
It's like 10 minutes.
Forbidden Door last year it was a show of highs and lows, but it was I think Forbidden Door one still.
I love that show. Forbidden Door 2, I thought it was brilliant.
I thought it was a good show, but I think Forbidden Door one is just a better show overall.
I think I've got to disagree with you on that one. Thought 2 was better.
I thought two had the higher highs with obviously like the Osprey Omega match, but I think as a show, I think number one is the best. But but yeah, we can have the discussion another day. Look through the card because I'm just remembering that number one, but maybe number one was the novelty of it as well. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, on to the next match. We had Adam Copeland versus Malachi Black in a barbed wire steel cage match.
Did you watch this?
Yes, I did. Good match.
They worked hard.
Good match. Good
Just,
match.
I'm just not keen on Malachi Black. He didn't do the job either. You know that? He didn't do the job. He didn't get pinned or tap out. He just passed out.
Passed out. Yeah. I think
I looked it up. The last time he lost a singles match in AEW was Cody Rhodes, October 2021.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find the record of him being pinned in a tag match either.
No, he doesn't get pinned.
So I'm thinking the last time he actually lost and got pinned in AEW was in 2021.
Which is hilarious because I remember back then I thought he shouldn't have lost that feud anyways. So yeah, but
yeah, I remember because he beat Cody quickly and then Cody got his win back really quickly.
Cody got his win back really fast, and it was like, huh? Like what?
Yeah, it was so unnecessary. So unnecessary.
It was weird.
But
I thought this match was good. I think this match, because of who was involved, I think the smoke and mirrors made sense. It's just you'd already done a lot of interference prior, which made the interference in this annoying. But within the context of this match, I think this match is the one that kind of, I want to say needed interference, but it made perfect sense for why it was this way. Yeah. But because you'd kind of like done too much earlier, yeah, this match was but this match was good. This match was a good match. Gangrel coming out was fun. It was a fun match. It was a fun match.
Yeah,
fun match. Very fun.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't watch it again. I'd never watch it again.
Nah. And then next we have the last match that I watched, which was Mercedes Moné and Willow. Good match, man. This was good. This was really good, man. This was really good.
Easily finished though.
Yeah, that finish doesn't work on everyone.
Yeah,
I think it's too convoluted.
I think it looks like shit anyway, but especially when like she's in there with someone much bigger than her.
Yeah,
why would you get pinned by that?
I like the move on smaller girls. So I remember when she went to New Japan and she had the match against like Azumi that trios match. That the finish looked really good. I think the finish looked good on the Japanese women because they're typically smaller.
Yeah.
So you can pick them up and carry them, and those women can can bump well because they're smaller. But that move on multiple opponents, nah. I honestly think that meteor that she does off the top rope, that should be her finish. That move looks so brutal. Like that should be her finish.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but I thought this match was really good.
The match was really good. Yeah. The only thing that took me out of it was the finish, really. But yeah, I mean, the finish as in the way it looked.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
but
it
I
did.
mean,
I think this feud did not a lot for Willow, but it did. Willow's somebody I've always wanted more for in the card, and feuding with Mercedes is like kind of like gave her like an elevated platform. And what I do like is that now she goes from this feud immediately into another angle, which I
yeah,
do like. There's an actual follow up. And Mercedes is TBS champion. Um, makes sense, and obviously like there are rumors online about who her opponent at Forbidden Door could be. A lot of people are saying Stephanie Vakir. Very much hinted that Stardom will be a part of Forbidden Door, which again I love, which I'm happy for. But obviously, like Rosie took all the draws, man. Rosie took all the Stardom draws, so it's like that's a very much depleted Stardom roster. You feel me? But it's still Stardom at the end of the day. But yeah, it's just like the girls I really wanted to see Mercedes go and tangle with aren't there anymore.
mhm.
So it's a shame.
Yeah, she's got on the home front. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I her being a TBS champion is a bit weird for me anyway because
It is,
that
yeah.
means that when Britt comes back and they start doing the program, that means they're going to be feuding over the TBS title.
TBS, yeah.
But, I don't know, just doesn't sit right with me. And if Jamie Hayter comes back and let's say she gets thrown in there, she was just the world champion the last time we saw her. She shouldn't even want.
I think Jamie is going to be very much a part of that world title picture. I could easily see Jamie going with Mariah May and stuff like that. I think Britt will be TBS. I think they're gonna separate
Britt's
out
the biggest, other than Mercedes. Britt is the
yeah,
biggest. She
yeah,
shouldn't be. I just think because of Timeless Tony, I just think it's all her being the world champion. I think is kind of thrown everything a bit out of whack because you
yeah.
can't obviously put Mercedes with her. I get that, and then when Britt comes back, I don't know what that means for Britt, but then Jamie's coming back as well, and Tony's pretty much a babyface at this point.
Yeah.
Like, so then the other two, when they come back, they'll be baby faces as well because they've been on TV for ages. I just, yeah,
Brit though, Brit can obviously we've seen Brit as a heel, but Brit can do that situational heel role against Mercedes. I think she'll be the situational. She could even do. I think her role is going to be the gatekeeper role, and that role can work as a babyface and a heel. You could
yeah.
do the gatekeeper angle as, oh my god, Brit's jealous. Look at Brit's jealous of Mercedes, and you could do the gatekeeper angle of, oh, I love AEW. I'm day one AEW. So I think it could work either way.
She's going to eat her up though. Like,
Yeah.
she's going to eat her up. And you know what?
Just prepare for the discourse. It'll be Val. It'll be like, oh my god, Brit is so unprofessional.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. From this point onwards, my bro, you are going to have to carry the show because I have not seen these last two matches. Obviously, I'm aware of the spoilers, so it's fine.
Oh, fine. Well, Christian and Swerve had a match. It was not what I expected at all. They had a wrestling match. I thought they were going to have a very bloody brawl after the build. Didn't get that. It was a wrestling match. Swerve won.
Yeah.
Audience was dead. They should have this type of match that they had, they should put on earlier. Like if they were going to keep it on this late, they should have had. That's what I thought. I thought it was going to be a blood feud type match.
Yeah,
they didn't do that. Just a wrestling match. No need for you to watch it at all. It wasn't bad. It was fine. But it was fine. It's whatever. I wouldn't recommend you watch it. You know, he had a Warriors entrance from. You ever seen the movie The Warriors?
Yeah. I see. So I did. So that's the part I got up to. I literally got up to the entrance and then obviously run out of time.
Floyd Mayweather was sitting at ringside as well during this match, which was interesting.
Very odd.
Yeah, don't know why he was there.
Very odd, especially. I won't get into it too much. But obviously, Swerve cut a promo about Sean Combs, and then
did he?
Yeah. So like a few weeks ago, Sean Swerve like made like a P Diddy reference.
Oh, really? Yeah, I saw that. Okay, fine. For you,
reference, and then obviously Floyd's comments on P Diddy most recently. It's like PR wise, I wouldn't if I was a part of the market, and I'd be like, yeah, don't bring this guy on TV. not today. Just not today. Swerve, you've got other rapper friends, please, or other black friends. Bring them on
Yeah,
TV. Not
yeah,
not Floyd.
yeah. I hear it.
Not Floyd.
It was like I said, it wasn't a bad match. It was fine,
Yeah.
but it was with a story leading into it. I thought it was going to be very bloody. I thought Swerve needed a really bloody, match. Where he looked strong and stuff. But
Swerve has been booked as a secondary champion, going even lower. See, I don't think he's been booked as a secondary champion. I just think Will's
I think
hotter
they've
than him.
done a fine job booking him. Really,
I don't think it's the booking. I just genuinely think Will is hotter than him.
I
That
mean,
is that. I think that's it. And then obviously MJF coming back with the return pop. But if you look at the build to Swerve winning the championship, like I
he was
think
strong build.
it was a strong build. Like I don't think this is one of these cases. And the reason why I know this is the case is because the build to Swerve becoming champion kind of coincided with obviously Osprey's debut, and we were having these conversations back then of like how do we build Swerve and Osprey at the same time. Am I still there?
Yeah, you're still there. You're frozen.
Don't worry. But yeah, we were having these conversations about like that a while ago. So yeah, I just think it's Osprey being hot and the overall product. I think the champion is often a reflection of the product, right? And this is no fault of Swerve. I'm not blaming Swerve. I just think because the product is quote unquote stale, quote unquote cold, we kind of look at the champion the same way. Unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles at some points in time.
Yeah. I've got nothing to add on that match. It was fine. You there? Okay, I think NK has dropped off, so I'll get on to the main event. So the main event was the Anarchy in the Arena match with the Elite against the FTR. What's in it? Bryan Danielson, and the other person was who was the other person? Darby Allin. How can I forget? Jesus. So yeah, that was absolutely chaotic. I really liked it. I saw, a lot of people I saw criticizing it. And it's always going to be polarizing, that type of match, but I thought that it was really, really fun. The flamethrower thing, I mean, if it was safe, it was fine. So I didn't have a problem with it, but I'm not saying I would have done it. I knew that someone was going to get burnt up because they wouldn't have brought that gimmick out on television on Wednesday if they weren't going to use it. Like I thought that was like the first match I've ever seen Okada do where he in that kind of setting. I was actually watching him throughout the match. He did not look comfortable really in terms of hitting people with objects. I did find that quite amusing, and the fact that he was the only guy that wore his own gear. Everyone else was wearing like Street Fighter gear, and he was wearing his actual wrestling stuff. So I did find that amusing. But yeah, it was a really, really fun match. It was chaotic. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it's always going to be polarizing, that kind of match. Every year they have one, and it's quite polarizing. But I really liked it. The finish came with Jack Perry, who got set up in flames by Darby Allin. He came back after being set on fire and pinned Bryan Danielson. But yeah, too much stuff to go over in terms of spot for spot as to what happened in this match. Hang on. Oh, apparently NK can hear me, but he's frozen. What else? Oh, they hung Darby Allin as well upside down above the ring while he was bleeding. The Bucks had their brand new Reeboks on. Okada came out. He gave the Bucks a shoebox, and inside the shoebox were these brand new Young Buck Reebok collaboration sneakers, and they had thumbtacks on the bottom, and they proceeded to super kick Darby Allin in the face multiple times. NK's back.
Yeah, we're back. So technical difficulties, but yeah, I've not watched this match. But
You should watch it.
No, it's definitely the match that I'm looking forward to the most, and it's probably the most highly like on my timeline. Like people are loving it. People are like, yeah, it's probably the best thing on the night.
Yeah, I
Like
really liked it.
yeah, like and I'm also obviously I could still hear you as you're going on. So obviously, yeah, I'm very interested to see how Okada fits into this match. Um, and one thing I will say is that the presentation of Okada so far, they've 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 nailed it. They've nailed it with Okada. He was the person I was actually most worried about. Just him transitioning into like an American setting, and I think putting him with the elite buys him a lot of time. Um, because I think next year, 2025, I think that's when you pull. I think he's someone I don't see losing at all. Um, I don't see him losing. And I think like he will be world champion in 2025. Don't know when, don't know how, but he will be world champion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think potentially he's the guy that beats Osprey.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think potentially he's the guy that beats Osprey, and then there's the history there. I think this year, obviously, I think Kenny's opted to have the surgery. I think that they're gonna do Kenny Okada at All In, which yeah, which obviously, despite my personal like, oh my god, I want to protect the sanctity of those 4 matches because I think they're great, but just in terms of like getting asses in seats and doing business, makes perfect sense to do Kenny and Okada All In. With the Bucks going forward, I think they need to revamp that tag team division drastically. Think as soon the earliest we can get to Edge and Christian, the better. I think inserting them into that division and having them feud with the Bucks is super necessary. Even getting the Lucha Bros back in the tag team division. I know you got Death Triangle, but getting the Lucha Bros back in that division, just having matches.
Machine Guns haven't shown up yet.
Yeah, they haven't shown up yet, which I just think, just going back to basic AEW booking, I always go back to this period, but I remember like the build to Revolution 2020 when it was obviously Hangman and Omega versus the Bucks, and how the Bucks got there is that they won like a tag team battle royal, and then but then you still had like on the night after you had like Omega and Hangman defend that title against the Lucha Bros, which was one of my personal favorite Dynamite TV matches. I just think going back to like what we were saying earlier, like the basics of AEW have been lost.
Yeah.
Even I think the builds to the Bucks and the Lucha Bros are All Out was, I think the Lucha Bros won like a tag team gauntlet match or something like that. They won something tag team related, but just getting back to like building tag teams, like not everything needs to be a tournament, but like do something. Like I don't know, these things don't have to take up too much TV time. Just do like, okay, this team's been winning tag team matches for 4 weeks in a row or a month. Okay, they're rightful challengers. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, and that's what made that the Young Bucks is like pandemic tag team run so good. Was these guys were defending over time. Like these men were having fucking having street fights with Butcher and the Blade, then wrestling guys like Eddie Kingston and Pac, then just having bunkhouse matches. Like these guys were wrestling like every week with those titles. So yeah, just get back to the basics, man. I feel like AW's like, I feel like the issue is the too many WWE cooks in the room. I think that's the main issue, and I think it's I remember interviews of like Tony Khan, like in the beginning of like, we've learned from the mistakes of like WCW and so on and so forth, and I'm not suggesting that he's nowhere near WCW levels, but he's making mistakes, and he's making mistakes that he shouldn't be making. I have grace for him when it comes to like the CM Punk stuff and stuff to a degree, because the brawl out thing, you can prevent that, but you can't predict that. but it's just like the promotional stuff, promoting the products, booking choices, hiring of staff. Do what got you to the dance, man. I mean, hiring these ex WWE writers, why? And I think it just became too much of, oh, we need to outdo WWE and what they're doing. It's like, bruv, the whole point is to do exactly what they're not doing. Be like
Yeah.
scare them. I don't want, like, respectfully, like, I do not want a product that's like appealing to like WWE fans. BAW. Like it's like if I want a restaurant that serves spicy food, don't have mild food on the menu.
Yeah.
Don't try to cater to all. Don't put mild stuff on the menu. You advertise spice. Give me spice. Give me spice. Don't dumb it down, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think obviously this will lead to blood and guts at some point, whenever that is, in the next month or so, or after Forbidden Door, that'll lead to blood and guts.
I think they need to pause on blood and guts. I think it doesn't need to be a yearly thing.
They do a good house, so they're not going to do that. They do a good house, and they always does a good number. So yeah, they're not going to stop on that one. I will say this: it'll be for control of the company, most likely.
Yeah.
Whatever, and I don't even think this angle's even been done that well anyway. I think it's been
I thought the Jack Perry turn was done masterfully. I thought
the angle,
the angle was
right. Well, I thought that was good.
That was great, but in terms of like what it could be, but I always think like I don't think I've ever seen a really good company versus employee angle.
I have Steve Austin and Vince McMahon. It's fabulous.
That's fair. Of course. How can I forget?
Yeah.
Do you know why I said that? Because I was thinking of Invasion immediately. So I was like,
oh well, yeah, that's different. That's
I was thinking of Invasion. Sorry, but yeah, no,
yeah,
you're right.
Man,
Austin versus McMahon, of course, the greatest feud ever, in my opinion. But yeah,
yeah, it's up there. Yeah, definitely. So it might even be the one. Probably is, but
yeah.
I mean, I just haven't enjoyed it. It's not that it's bad. It's just this thing when you get guys in control of the company. I mean, why is the show
away with it?
Why is the show the same? Like, do you know what I mean?
I feel like when they do these control the company angles, it's like they're not ballsy with it. Like, I mean, like you said, I mean, you've spoken about WCW Invasion ad nauseum, but like you've spoken on Wrestling for Idiots, which you should watch. It's a really good episode. It was by the way, that was a really good episode. You know, I know it was a really good episode because I had that on in the background and I was hanging out with someone who doesn't watch wrestling. And I had it on as background noise, and they just sat down and watched it with me. And they're like, this knowledge guy, like, I have no idea what he's talking about. I'll never watch wrestling, but like, he knows to tell a story. So yeah.
I do like that one. I can talk about the Invasion for a long time, but I just don't understand. The show's the same. You know, they don't do anything different. The show isn't any different as to what it was 2 months ago. It's just, you know, and also, you know, you think that they put Jack Perry in the title match or, you know, it's stuff like that.
Cook the books or something. That's literally, obviously they've set up the Anarchy in the Arena match, but I thought like Swerve's first opponent might have been Jack Perry, just to like cook the books or something like that.
It's the Young Bucks. You know what they're into. Why isn't there more tag team matches on the show? Why isn't there more craziness and you know, and proper just madness on the show? But yeah, that's a pay-per-view. It's good. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Watch the main event though. When you get a chance tonight, watch the main event. Watch it tonight. You'd love it.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out, man. But yeah, man. I think, I don't know, man. Like I said, I think we're both tapped out of wrestling, so maybe tomorrow we'll come up with some historical episode, something in the history of wrestling. Because I can't, like, contemporary wrestling. I'm so sorry, guys. I know you come to us for entertainment, but I couldn't give a toss. Like, don't even get me. Like, it's beyond the point of like anger. It's just like, I'd rather just do something else.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Atlas was supposed to come and we'll get Atlas and we'll have a chat one week about our favorite something.
I'll probably find an audio, like, because you know what it is, like, I've been I think once I'm in the mood to watch wrestling again, like I'm a proper tap into that All Japan content that you've been sending me, because that's the one. I think I'm just gonna do historical deep dives on that.
Go to Atlas.
Yeah. Me and Alice have been talking.
Go to Atlas. He's the guy.
Yeah.
He's better than me. He's way better than me. I never watch these matches anymore, so yeah.
Yeah, fair play.
He's got a better reference than I am. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, all right, man. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend about this show. Give us some suggestions of topics down below. Make sure you check out our other content. That's the E and the Flagship Podcast and Indie Takers. Check out the Flagship Podcast as well, because we had a really interesting conversation with Tank Mayfairs. We spoke a lot about soft ground wrestling. And just like how they've set up their stuff and his experience obviously wrestling there. And how like a lot of wrestlers want to contribute and help. So yeah, that was really good and interesting episode.
Also, speaking of the comments, if there's, like I said, if there's any particular subject you want to discuss or you want to get us involved with, please mention it below. Any historical story that you can think of.
Mm-hmm.
Black Saturday, I can do that. We can do the Montreal Screwjob. Maybe not that one, but I can do that if I have to. Like Ric Flair showing up in WWE with the WCW title. Anything. I can talk about anything, really. Just whatever you want more details or information on, let me know and we'll talk about it here.
Definitely, man. Definitely. But it's been NK. It's been Knowledge. It's been Commissioner's Corner. We are signing out. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.